Hi guys, welcome back to another video. It's been a long time since I sat down and decided to talk to you guys, but I decided to do so because I got my first ever YouTube comment, which will be right here, and this person was asking me about my PhD salary, I guess. And it's actually a video I've been thinking about doing for a while, so I thought this is the perfect opportunity to come and tell you guys. I am based in the UK. This might be different for different countries. In fact, I know it is different for different countries. So if you're wanting to know more about another country, I suggest you go and find another creator or look online somewhere else where you'd be able to get accurate information. But I can speak confidently about the UK. Now in the UK, you have, I guess, two modes of funding a PhD. A PhD, or technically three. A PhD can be self-funded, where someone pays the tuition fees and the bench fees. And by bench fees, that means any amount of money that will be needed during the PhD. So if you want to buy a pack of gloves, you buy it with your money. If you need to buy reagents, you fund that yourself. But that is literally in the tens of thousands. Very, very expensive. So most people don't go down that route. However, it is an option. A second option is to get money through grants. So you continuously apply for grants throughout your PhD, and part of that grant money, I believe, can go towards funding you, like giving you, I guess, kind of like a salary. That side I'm not so familiar with. I'm more familiar with the route that I take, which is I'm funded by an external body. I'm funded by BBSRC. BBSRC is a council within UKRI. The UKRI is a non-departmental body within the government, and they basically allocate resources and funding for, I guess, research. So like I said, yeah, I'm funded by BBSRC. There are other councils. There's a technology one. There's just a whole load. I'll put some on the screen for you guys. And with that, they provide a certain amount of funding per year, and that incorporates how much you get paid as a PhD student. I think in total, I get £14,000 for my benchmark for my research, and that's spread across 4 years. Not including £900 per rotation, which I've spoken about in previous videos before, but I will double check that for you guys because it's been a while, and me being computational, most of my money does go to like resources, like computational resources, which is, I must say, a lot less in comparison to maybe wet lab scientists, where they may need to buy mice or reagents or equipment or things like that. Get into how I spend and how I track my expenditure for my bench fees another day. But onto the actual main question, which is how much I get paid. So I get paid in line with the UK stipend, which is pretty much minimum wage. So it's tax-free, and at the moment it's about £1,600 per month. So it is livable, especially as a student. However, if you have other responsibilities, that money is not the easiest to deal with. So if you have a dependent or you're living in an expensive area, that money might be not so manageable. I am aware that this is the amount I get for being outside of London. I'm pretty sure London PhD students do get a little extra, but again, of course, London is expensive, so I'm sure the little extra doesn't really offset it enough. So £1,600 is enough for a lot of PhD students, but prior to starting a PhD, I had a job and I was working in London, and I did experience the inflation of lifestyle. So in order to keep up with that and also be able to save some money, I decided to get a part-time job. Now, you don't have to have a part-time job. That was just my preference. And I work part-time in a non-science related, like literally completely random kind of role. But I do have some examples of related part-time roles that you can do that can support you in your career and applications after your PhD. I do have them written down here on my phone because I knew I would leave some out and I didn't want to forget anything for you guys. But the first job that we have is as a teaching assistant. So this teaching assistant role could be in, for example, a secondary school, or it could actually be in the university. I know a lot of lecturers or professors are often looking for other people to maybe fill in certain timetabling gaps, or they're willing to just allow you to have that experience because a lot of PhD students do actually want to go down the route of obtaining professorship, and they're willing to help try and like facilitate those experiences for you. Tutoring is my second one. I think that goes without saying, whether that's primary school, secondary school, university. Tutoring is always needed at every level, and I think they'd especially appreciate a PhD student being able to deliver that. Freelance writing and editing. Of course, you have to be careful because you don't want to have a situation of plagiarism on your hands. But freelance writing, whether that's medical writing or something different, that could be on an app like Fiverr, or you can find an agency to do it through. But that's a great opportunity to exercise your skills as a writer, for you to improve on them and also just gain wider experiences that may be very translational in other roles post PhD. I think this one might be the most disliked one on the list, but data analytics / consulting. I think that as we progress into a more AI driven or tech based world, science is going into that as well. And obviously I know I'm biased being a bioinformatician, but I think that data analytics is really, really important, and the importance of it is just growing day by day. So if you can get the relevant skills that you need to be able to enter a position where you'd be able to do analytics or data manipulation or anything similar for other people's data sets, I think that those skills kind of work in a cycle. So you gain them to get that job, and by doing the job you gain more skills that can help you with your PhD. And I think pretty much every job eventually would need some kind of data understanding, some kind of data science manipulation side of things. I don't know, it's my personal opinion anyway. If you manage to have enough time, then working as a research assistant or a lab assistant can be a really good way to diversify your skill set, because when you're doing a PhD it's very easy to niche down and become very specialized in the few sets of experiments that you do. And sometimes it's important to remember that when you're going out into the world of PhD or post PhD, you likely won't be working on the exact same things you did as a student or as a PhD candidate. So being able to practice and widen your skill set during the time of your PhD is a really great opportunity, as well as a nice way to earn some money, and also maybe put your name on some publications, because you know, why not? A website that I really like to use to look for jobs like that is, of course, you know, you have Indeed, LinkedIn and things like that, but Unitemps in the UK is a really good website for things like that. And I think because Unitemps isn't so widely known, it's also a lot less competitive, so it's far easier to go and get jobs that are like that. And that's actually where I got my experience as a COVID-19 lab tech, which was pretty cool because I had no previous science experience at the time, and it wasn't just processing like COVID's PCR tests, it was a little more than that. So yeah, I'm really happy to have been part of the experience, and there were people who were doing that job also that were PhD students, so I do very much recommend Unitemps. Now we get onto the list of jobs that are not so academic focused. The first one is dog walking or pet sitting. So my friend actually told me about this app where she pet sits and she takes them out on walks around parks and things like that, and it was literally the cutest job ever. There are some apps where you do it for free, and there are some jobs, some apps where you're paid to do that. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know if you need some special certification or you just sign up and go, but I feel like that just sounds like a wonderful job, and if I had time I probably would do it even for free, to be fair. If you have a knack for graphic design, again, using an app like Fiverr to help push your designs forward or offer your services is definitely a great way to make money and also build a side business. And of course you have the delivery driver jobs that can be for grocery stores, that can be for fast food restaurants, whether that's like a pizza chain, or you can work with Just Eat, Deliveroo, Uber Eats, you know, those kind of companies. I do have a few more, quite a few more. So if you do want the rest of my list, because I feel like this is getting quite long, I'm happy to do a further video with more insights into that. But I don't want to bore you guys with information you didn't ask for. But yes, to summarize that answer to the question, I get paid £19,200-ish per year, tax-free, and I get that every single month. So it's not like SFE. I know there's a common misconception that PhD students are either really rich in terms of they have to be rich to do a PhD, or there's that misconception that when you do a PhD you earn so much money. And then there's also the misconception where we're like normal students, so we have SFE and we get our termly or semesterly drops of money. That isn't the case, at least here in the UK. A stipend is paid monthly, it's paid through the university, it's tax-free, it's livable, maybe not the most comfortable, but yeah, you can definitely make it work. It's down to individual preferences and whatever else you might have going on in your life.